We need to reform our payment system so that physicians are able to spend time with their patients and not feel like they have to do procedures to make money and keep their practices going. We need to reimburse physicians for time that they spend with their patients so that we can educate and take good exams and good histories with our patients. The other thing that we learned through this process is that we have a movement. Despite the fact that we were excluded from the media and from the debate, we saw actions all around the country. We saw groups get activated all around the country, and we know that there's a movement out there. And I'm really encouraged because despite the passage of the legislation, we have not seen that movement slow down. People understand it. We say health reform, we're still for it. We haven't gotten it yet. So we've got to keep working for that, and I'm really encouraged to see that people are willing to do that. So very quickly, the next phase that we're facing, in terms of this very scripted debate that's leading us down another path, is this deficit commission that the President has appointed. And they are likely to recommend cuts to our social insurance programs in order to balance the budget. We do not need to cut our social insurance programs to balance our budget. We have other ways to balance the budget. Military spending is certainly something that we can go for. Taxing our corporations. There are other things that we can do, but they're going to try to do this on the backs of our health and our well-being. And so there's an organization called the America Speaks, which is being funded by the Peter Peterson Foundation. They're holding town halls all around the country. I attended the one that they had here in Detroit today. I looked at the materials, and I encourage you to do the same thing. It's very misleading. It's very, the options that they give you are not the options that we need to be choosing from. They're basically asking us to cut Medicaid and Medicare. And so I hope that you'll pay attention to that and that you'll be out there and have your voice heard in this process. It's critically important. And then we are going to have to put pressure on our legislators to not accept these cuts to our deficit. So the Green Party, I'm so thankful for you. I'm thankful for you to having me here tonight. You are stalwarts for single payer. I really look forward to working with you. And Jean-Lou is going to share with us his wisdom on how we're going to do this.
Thank you. Margaret always gives me the tall order, and I'm saying, am I going to be able to do this? I mean, the first thing I want to say is that I really appreciate being here among Green Party activists, and particularly the fact that you are organizing for authentic, independent political action. That takes courage. That's going to be a long fight. And as a legacy in the history of this movement is going to be written, those who are involved in actually expanding and defending democratic rights and human rights, your names will be a part of that history, the names of this party and its legacy of independent action, political action. That one lesson that we have learned is that independent political action will be the only way that we can push back bourgeois rights and their capacity to do what they're doing. The two-party system is bourgeois right on steroids, and we have to end it, and we have to end it now. So don't stop, continue. A couple of things I wasn't sure just how I was going to frame my comments, and so I sort of got the feel of the room, particularly the discussion that was going on at this table and the energy in the conversations at this table. I want to first talk very briefly about how I got interested in healthcare at all. I was a practicing lawyer working at the National Prison Project, going in and out of prisons throughout the United States, litigating prison conditions based on the Eighth Amendment. Among those conditions is how medical care is delivered. And what I saw was a degree of pain and callousness and indifference to human life and the legitimization of suffering that made me think, where am I? You know, where in the hell am I? I spent time directing their AIDS project, providing lawyers legal assistance to represent prisoners with AIDS. It was an amazing, eye-opening experience such that a horror movie was boring to me. In addition to the fact that many of my friends were just dying all around me, and I was living in Washington, D.C., in the intersection of three dynamics. One was the increased drug epidemic, violence, and HIV, and that was genocidal for particular communities. So moving forward, there are some things that the single-payer movement has done well, and Margaret has alluded to some of them. But a critical mass of us stayed on message that it refused to compromise. Single-payer was the answer. Single-payer was being fought for. Expanded, improved Medicare for all, and all means all. All means all people who have their feet on the soil of what is now called the United States. All residents. We have to fight for that and demand for that. Also, what the movement did was, first of all, the movement is a result of the framing of what we now have, because it was in response to what we did that they had to come up with something to prevent us from getting where we were going. So that was a victory in itself, in the sense that we pushed and created this dynamic that was hatched by Republicans, Democrats in the White House, that gives $300 to $400 billion to the private health insurance industry to do more denial of care to make more money. But what the single-payer movement did is it built local leadership in communities around the United States that were autonomous, defining how they were going to organize locally to move the single-payer agenda ahead. And there are many different strategies, but people were learning along the way. The organization that I helped to co-found, the Private Health Insurance Must Go Coalition, emphasized building coalitions with people already doing activist work in various silos, such that there was already experienced organizers there who had a base in communities of color, communities among workers, communities among the disabled, communities among the elderly, who were doing human rights work, and that they included health in their agenda. We began to work together to build a coalition under an umbrella focusing on single payer, such that we could build political capacity to make single payer a reality. And this goes beyond faxing, calling, lobbying. It means building the political muscle to make the change. These were things that were done well, and that is why we have a movement. But there are some things that were not done well. And it's important to understand, I want to talk about Homeboy. Homeboy has an amazing smile. He walks with swagger. He has a glimmer in his eye. He has one of the broadest and deepest skill sets of anyone who's ever been in the White House. And he is a consummate cynic and liar. Barack Obama can wax and wane about single payer far better than anybody I've ever seen, because I've heard him when he was a state senator. He knows, he could say everybody in, nobody out better than anybody. He understood and understands that single payer is the best solution to the healthcare crisis in this country, and he has said it. And he also said that if you bring it to my table, you bring it to my desk, I will sign it. He said this while he was running, and that gave a lot of us energy and excitement. So, yo, we got somebody who's going to, carry our water for us. Now, this is being said by him in the context of the fact that the majority of the people in the United States were willing to pay progressive taxes for a national healthcare system in this country. This was said when we had over 450 labor unions signing on to single payer. This was said when the majority of physicians were supporting single payer. This was said when the U.S. Conference of Mayors, this is an organization of over 300 mayors where they have populations of 60,000 or more, said, we support single payer. The College of Surgeons support single payer. So this is, we had 80 co-sponsors in the House. This is the reality when Barack Obama became the President of the United States. And within the week of his election, what did he say to Nancy Pelosi and the heads of the Democratic Party? Y'all can't talk about this. You can't even have a conversation about